it's very exciting. And Rabbi Elias comes and he brings down on the next ikar, which we found, and he calls the foundations within this foundation, actually. Sorry, I should have actually checked which foundation we are actually in, but we're on the 5th ikar. So in that 5th foundation, and in understanding that the previous segment, he says, we discussed the general approach to dealing with the various issues we face. Our primary focus should not be on achieving pain relief, but rather on what Hashem, who created the issue, wants from us. So I don't know about all of you, but certainly one of the things that I think when we look at the days, we look at the world and we look around, we say, you know what? Everybody has their challenges. And we're all going to have different challenges, which are going to come to us at different times. And it's going to be that place that says, Hashem says this is specific to you personally. That doesn't mean anybody else is exempt or there's a punishment. It is specific to you to see how you're going to actually be able to grow from this. There's another element within this ikar that one pertains to tefillah specifically. Prayer must be addressed solely to Him, to Hashem. If we truly understand the concept of tefillah, we recognize that beseeching any other person, force, or entity for assistance as if control lay in their hands is entirely senseless. I think that certainly when one gets to Eretz Yisrael, I don't know, maybe why we always just feel, well, I personally feel that you actually feel that connection on a different level and you can daven for something. And we ask Hashem, you know, we can use different ways of doing it today. I hope everybody was part of making sure to participate in Tu B'Shvat, and we utilize the different levels of tefillah and asking Hashem that when we eat a fruit which has a shell and the inside, you can't eat the inside without breaking open the shell. And we have to see for ourselves that sometimes we also have to break through an outer klippah, an outer covering that allows us to break through that covering and then to grow from that. And when we look at Hashem's creation and you say, look, Hashem, look what you made. Look what you've given us. And let's have a look and see, even I am able to break through that klippah and to grow through that. Please help me. And when we see something in its completeness, and we know that there's only one place that the answer is going to come from, even if we use different vehicles to daven through, whether it's going to a grave of somebody, whether it's going to get a bracha, whether it's through the vessel of making brachot and looking at what it is that Hashem's given us, and then we say, this is what you have. So Rabbi Elias continues, he says, directing prayers towards anything other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu could lead us to a serious place of Avodah Zarah. The Rambam tells us this. Aside from the Avodah Zarah aspect, however, looking elsewhere for assistance involves another fundamental issue. It undercuts the entire essence of Hashem's, of the tefillah. And why is that, he says? He says, let's have a look at the function. What is tefillah? Tefillah plays a central role in everyday life. Okay, so we address our Creator in Shacharis, Mincha, and Ma'ariv. Okay, I can't say that I'm doing that. I think that, we get to what the tefillahs that we can, that are the tefillahs in our siddur, and hopefully at least we can get to one or two. But then we spend a lot of our time in our day sort of saying, okay, you know what, come on, Hashem. You know, even if it's for the traffic or even if it's whatever it is that we're doing, that we're talking and making sure that it is actually to Him. So for one thing, we are thanking Hashem for all that He has done for us personally and for the world at large. And I think sometimes if we take a little bit of time and we sit down and we write down, sometimes you can say it, but you won't always remember what you've said. But if you make a note and you jot down, and it's like our gratitude journals and our place of gratitude, thank Hashem for the things that He's done, not only for us personally, but for the people around us. and for the world around us. And right now, I think everybody is like exerting every little bit of the place of tefillah, of prayer that we have in just asking Hashem, just give us more open miracles. Just give us more open miracles, because it's the only place, and there's only one place that this is going to come from. And we totally understand there is only one place, and that is direct from Hashem in helping us with the next miracle that we as a Jewish people really need. So we thank Hashem for all that he has done for us personally and the world at large. And this aspect is understandable while praising the myriad facets of Hashem's world, from the mind-boggling complexities of the solar system to the intricacies of each cell. We express our gratitude and appreciation for these wonders, which helps us focus on his many gifts and truly enjoy the environments that he has created for us. And if I could actually show you, well, I'll show you a little bit, because this is the leftovers of the platters that we had, including, I have to admit, that we had white wine, red wine. Took our white wine, add a little bit of red to make it pink, added a little bit more to make it dark, and then had the red wine. And why? Because really what we want to do, we want to thank Hashem. Usually we don't want to create. We talk about the red as being more of the place of negativity, and the white as being clean and pure. And this way we're saying we actually add Kabbalistically from the white to add the red. But it's the wholesomeness, and it's that place that we're going to also make Kiddush on. And if you take any fruit and you look at really the wonders of the fruit, I always find it amazing. You know, when you take an avocado and they say, keep the pip near it, and then the avocado doesn't go black. And you think, like, how? How is that actually possible? It's keeping them connected. When you break an eggshell, right, into an egg that you're trying to just break and crack, if you use the eggshell, not a spoon, if you use the eggshell to take that shell out, it attracts itself naturally to that eggshell. Try it. It's unbelievable. And this is all Hashem's greatness. When you can even make a bracha on the smell, right, of a klippah, of the skin of a fruit, because of the beautiful smell that Hashem gives to the fruit, and each one is different. And you look at it, you make a fruit salad, you know, when you say, does this match that dress? Does that match that dress? And it doesn't have to match. But when it comes to natural flowers, and when it comes to fruit salad, everything matches. It's just amazing. Everything looks like it's in the right place. And with vegetables. And Yana can be my one with all her beautiful tables and everything that she does. When you take food, it's amazing how it all just looks like right, and it all actually goes together, right? Excepting sometimes the cholet and the kugel you have to keep on a separate table. Okay, so the most basic component of tefillah is our requests for the varied items that we need. Could you please help me out with my parnasa, with my health, with shidduchim, with shalom bayis, with raising children? We turn to Hashem regularly with our litany of requests, asking him to provide for us. Here we run into a roadblock, a conundrum that cuts to the core of all of our prayers. Hashem is in charge, and he understands the situation far better than I do. So he already knows what I need before I open my mouth. And if he wants to give it to me, he can certainly do so. One of the most beautiful things that I heard many, many years ago from Rebbetzin Miller in Eretz Yisrael, she should just be well and healthy. And we're talking about a situation where somebody was struggling with something, and she said, you know, don't worry. The girl said, she asked her, is it true? She said, is it true that a door closes and there'll always be the next door's going to open? And Rebbetzin Miller looked at her and said, I'm going to tell you something even better than that. Because the door on the other side is always open before your door actually closes. So Hashem's just waiting to give you that opportunity. And he says, don't worry, the door on the other side is open. Just go with it, because he understands and he knows what we need better than what we think we actually need. And that's not an easy thing to live with, and it's not an easy thing to have, because we think that we know what we really need, more really what we want. But Hashem says you can't always have what you think you want. That's not necessarily good for you. So he already knows before I open my mouth. And if he wants to give it to me, he can. And certainly he also does it. If he doesn't want to give it to me, there's no getting around him. Okay, so why should I bother asking? And I guess that might be something, even with when we have the conversations, if you won the lottery, what would you do with it? Okay, and we're all going to have our different things. So the Ramchal and others tell us that indeed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what we need, and he has no problem giving it to us straight away. He loves us deeply, and he wants to make our lives as pleasant as possible. And to understand the purpose of prayer, then, we must take a step back before we can think about asking for assistance. Let's think about why we have a problem in the first place, and why is that person lacking health, money, or anything else. And the answer is that Hashem withheld it in the first place, and Hashem created the challenge. But why? I remember once asking Rav Moshe Shurkin, and he used to come here to collect money for the yeshiva for Nativot. And I said, he asked me if I could get in touch and call somebody to make a connection. I said, yes, of course. And then I said to him, why do people not want to introduce people to people? I said, they're probably scared that, if they do and they give that one, that person, they'll have to give money to, and then they'll get less for themselves. Who knows? And Rav Moshe Shurkin said something very beautiful. And that is why one of the reasons that I'm always happy to take pages and to help anybody that's obviously a charity extra that I know will benefit Klal Yisrael. I say, I'll do it. I can't say that I'm going to phone 100 times. I can tell you that I will put it and I will send out and I'll ask people, and people might hate me for it. But at the end of the day, we all choose who we want to give to. And really, Hashem has enough money to give everybody their needs. Don't ever think that it comes from those people. Those people are simply the shlichim. They are your messengers that are doing this, right? So he says, but why should we? Our job here in this world and their overall purpose in everything that we have to do can be summed up as a quest to find Hashem, to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He put us down here in a murky world where Hashem's hand is not readily apparent with the task of finding him. It's ongoing quest of what we call hide and seek. So how do we go about finding him? Suppose a person's life is going very well on every front and he has all the money and resources he requires. In such a situation, people tend to take matters for granted. They are comfortable, they are content, and they ask no questions. Where does all the goodness come from? Who cares? Just pass the Coke. How, then, are they going to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Along Hashem comes and takes things away. Now people start to open their eyes. Now they're looking. Who's in charge? Who can help me? And with that, they can find him. Once, says Rabbi Elias, I realized that prosperity is a gift from Hashem. Well-being is a gift from him. Intellect is a gift from him. I will turn to him, to Hashem, and ask for these things. I got the message. I'm connecting. There's no longer a need for him to withhold anything. Essentially, the goal of tefillah is not to convince Hashem to grant me a bonus. It is for me to receive what he planned to give me all along. Hashem took it away to spur me to come and find him, which I can accomplish through prayer. There's a saying attributed to Rav Yitzchak Hutner, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. Tefillah wasn't invented to get us out of problems. Problems were invented to get us into tefillah. The Avos were childless for decades. This, we are told, is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu yearned for their prayers. What does that mean? Would HaKadosh Baruch Hu inflict pain just to hear a tefillah? And why does he need their prayers at all? The answer is that Hashem needs absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. He wanted the Avos, our forefathers, to grow far beyond what they were. Only by lacking something critical, which prompted them to engage in heartfelt prayer and connect with Hashem on a very profound level, could they attain such heights. In other words, for a Yitzchak Avinu to emerge, his parents had to connect to Hashem on an intense level that could be attained only by yearning for a child for so many years. This concept of tefillah, serving as a means of connecting us with Hashem, is evident throughout the wording in the Shemona Esrei. Looking through the various brachas of personal requests, we find a recurring structure pattern. In many of these brachas, after making the initial request, we conclude with a statement beginning, Ki ata, because you, with a capital Y, are. We ask for health, because you, Hashem, are the faithful healer, for livelihood, because you, Hashem, are the one who blesses the years. And I understand that you, Hashem, are the one in charge. I get it. Now that I attained this understanding, there's no longer a reason for you to withhold these benefits from me. Now I ask you to grant them to me. And in the whole essence of tefillah is to forge a connection between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and myself. It would be utterly absurd to respond to his withholding something from me by turning to someone or something else for help. The whole reason that Hashem took away was to motivate me to draw him near to him. Turning to someone else and viewing the other person's or entity of exerting some control over my life completely defeats the purpose and just digs the hole I'm in even deeper. One more minute. How does this affect my daily life? Life appears to the casual observer to be running on a course of its own. People make money, people lose money, people are healthy, people become sick. People have it easy, people deal with endless stress. We can peer through the veil to understand that there's a hand pulling the strings in everything we see. Each experience in life, whether enjoyable or difficult, is Hashem's doing. Our mission is to see through the smokescreen and to keep drawing everything we see back to its source. Through prayer, we review our vision of how the world is truly run. Tefillah, prayer, is the fundamental to our day and not just a shopping list. Set yourself each morning, remind yourself at midday, and then again when your day draws to a close. Hashem wants you to notice him in health and in sickness, in business deals and that you close, and in one that falls through. Through tefillah, you find him everywhere, even when you're looking for a parking. And that becomes our space. Whether we're going especially to Golders Green or just outside Kosher Deli, and it's the time that you know there's not going to be a parking, you say, come on, please help, help. And then he hides those ones, but you turn the corner, and on the right-hand side, you've then got to park instead of just driving into a space. He says, I'm giving it to you. I'm just going to make you work a tiny little bit harder to get the gift that I gave you. And those are the things that we have to see. Thank you, Hashem, for all those little things. And I'll just end on a Lady J saying, Lady J would always say, Hashem understands every language. He created them. Speak to him in the language that you're most comfortable. Talk to him like a person. He is our Avinu Shebashamayim, our Father in heaven. He is the best Father that has the ability to give us everything. Use it, because we're so blessed as Jews to have this in our lives. And to use it is something that is just going to give us extra dimension to our days, to our lives, to pray to him, to thank him, and then to be able to say, you know what, I've just got to become a better person and work a little bit harder on all these little things. Thank you for being with me. I don't want to take up